Hi from Iopi Medical. My name is Tara Hart, and I'm going to teach you about the Iopi system. The Iopi was invented over 20 years ago by Dr. Lushai when he was a professor at the University of Iowa. The name Iopi stands for Iowa Oral Performance Instrument, and the device is used to measure tongue and lip strength and endurance in patients with dysphagia. It also provides biofeedback for oral motor exercise. The device is easy to use and handheld. There are three components that you have to hook together to do the measurements. Start off with the device. The second piece is called a connecting tube. It's just a small, thin tube so that you can have the machine laying on the table and not too close to the patient's face. The connecting tube has two ends, a tubing end and an end that has a little metal adapter. We're going to take the tubing end and attach it to the port on the bottom of the Iopi system. There. Now we're going to attach the tongue bulb or oral sensor to the other end, and that comes packaged clean in a pouch like this. And when it arrives, it has a seal on this end. This end with the blue tip goes in the patient's mouth, and the other end you're going to attach to the connecting tube. To do that, I have to cut this seal off. So as I open the package, I'm going to do two things at one time. Open the package and cut the seal off. There we go. And I'm going to do one more step. I'm going to slice down the edge of the pouch so that it's easy to take the tongue bulb out when I'm ready to. Okay. So now we take the metal adapter end of the Iopi and insert it into the tubing on the tongue bulb. And we're ready to go. Now, when we turn the Iopi on, at the bottom here with this button, you'll see that it shows the measurement of pressure in this air-filled bulb in kilopascals. That's the international unit of pressure. So as I squeeze this bulb, you'll notice that the reading changes. Now, if I want to see the maximum pressure in the bulb, then I would press the maximum button or peak button. It's a little image of a mountain with an arrow pointing to the highest peak. When we press that, now it will show me the highest value that I just had. And if I press higher than 25 kilopascals, you'll see it retains that highest value. This is the mode. There's peak here and the reset button next to it, all within this green zone. This is called the peak mode. That's how I'm going to measure either tongue or lip maximum strength. So first we reset the measurement, and we're ready to measure my tongue strength. Now the placement of this bulb is going to be on the hard palate behind the alveolar ridge. You're going to place the blade of your tongue on the tongue bulb, not the tip. So hold it with the blade of the tongue and press it up against the hard palate as hard as you can. You don't need to hold the measurement. You can just press up hard and fast with the tongue bulb and relax. Okay. So again, I'm going to place it on the hard palate behind the alveolar ridge. I'm going to keep my jaw nice and soft, and my teeth are going to be open just enough so that the tubing comes out. Okay. All right. All right, and I got a maximum tongue strength of 54. All right, I'm going to measure 3 times, and I'm going to keep the highest of those values. Normally, you let your patients rest, a good 30 seconds up to 2 minutes between measurements so that they don't fatigue and you're getting real measurements of maximum. Oh, I got 56. I got a little higher. I'm warming up. Now, I might fatigue here and get a lower value. Let's see. I got 56 again. There you go. All right, now that we know my maximum value, and again, I'm not a patient, I don't have dysphagia, but we know what my maximum is, you can compare it to normal values. And we have these normal values on our website as well as in the manual, but I can show them to you here. And the peak for all the age ranges is about 60 kilopascals, plus or minus. So I'm just a little bit below average. The average range goes from about 40 kilopascals to 80 kilopascals. And there's a few normal people with above those values and below those values. What you're looking for is a patient with dysphagia that's in this lowest, lowest fifth percentile. And we do have the percentiles listed in the manual as well. So you can refer to that and say my patient has a tongue strength below the fifth or below the first percentile. And those patients with weak tongues are good candidates for tongue exercise. And the advantage of the Iopi is that not only do you know the maximum, but now you can do biofeedback and make sure that they're exercising at the appropriate range. We know from exercise science that you need to exercise about 60 to 80% of your maximum in order to increase strength over time. If you're working out far below 60%, then you're not going to build strength as efficiently. And if you are working more closer to your maximum, you might be breaking down muscle faster than you're building it. So because we know my maximum tongue strength is 56, I would say my range of 60 to 80% would be, a little bit, but somewhere between 32 and 42, for example. So let's take the middle of the range. Let's try 36. So if I want my exercise to occur in the range of 36 kilopascals, I can now use this biofeedback light array. And you can see that these buttons and the lights are all within the same green zone. That means that these buttons are associated with the light array. I can turn on the lights, and you'll see the bottom light turns on, and the display now shows 50. 50 is what we call the target. That's how hard you have to press or how hard you have to work in order to get the top green light on. And as I press this bulb, you see it lights up the top green light. So this would be exercising at 50. But that's too high for me, so I can change that value to 36 by pressing on the down arrow. Now I can press it once at a time, or as I hold it down, it'll start to speed up. And there's 36. All right, so if I wanted to exercise, my therapist could provide a protocol for me and say, I want you to do that 10 times, for example. And a standard protocol would be 3 sets of 10 repetitions, 3 to 5 days a week, for example. All right, so if I were to try to do some repetitions, I would place it in the same position. For example, and that was doing 5 repetitions. Great. So the other thing you can do, I'm going to turn the lights off now, is you can measure posterior tongue strength. So we first measured anterior tongue elevation. If I want to measure posterior, I can place the bulb on the soft palate and lift the posterior base of the tongue up and squeeze it against the soft palate. So I'll try that now. And as you can see, I'm 63, higher than I am anterior. That's unusual, actually, for the US population. Normally, the anterior is about 10% higher than the posterior. Another measurement we can do is to measure the cheek or the lip, bicularis oris. It's easiest to learn if I demonstrate measuring the cheek first. So I'm placing it outside of my teeth. So this is not a tongue strength measurement, just so you're not confused. We're now moving to a different zone and measuring the buccal. If we go outside the teeth and inside the buccal muscle, I'm going to reset this maximum here. Now you see that it's showing me a few kilopascals. That's because it's sitting inside my cheek. It actually is being squeezed a little bit. But now we'll do my maximum. So I have a 32 kilopascals for my buccal. And if I want to measure more orbicularis oris, I'm going to slide the bulb forward until it's more under the muscle that I intend to measure. So here I'm sliding it forward, covering the bulb with my lips, and then I'm going to get mad. 32. We'll go backwards to the buccal. My buckle's a little higher. I can feel I'm weakening, fatiguing. There we go. And if you have a stroke patient, of course, you might want to measure both sides and document the deficit, and then you can use the biofeedback to work on re-engaging those muscles. Great. So I did mention that you fatigue, obviously, and one of the nice things about the Iopi is you can measure the concept of fatigability by measuring their endurance. So they have opposite relationships. If you have strong endurance, high endurance, you have low fatigability and vice versa. In order to measure endurance, you set the top green light for half of your maximum. So in my case, if I was 56, that would be 28. So I'm going to set the top light for 28. And now when you hit the top green light, that's half of my maximum effort. And now we're going to measure, I'm going to demo, not do it for real, how long I can hold half of my maximum. I'll show you the concept. I don't want to make you sit there while I hold it forever. But we can turn on the timer now. And again, these timer functions are all grouped in this green zone. And you can see it has 0 now. So the setting for the target is still held in the system, and we're just changing the display to show seconds. So if I press start on this timer mode, oops, there you can see a little better. Now it says 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds. I can stop the seconds, and I can also reset back to 0. So if I want to measure my endurance, I'm going to press on the bulb until I hit the top green light and hold that for as long as I can. When I hit the green light, I'm going to press start, and when I can't hold it any longer, then I'm going to hit stop. And I don't want you to sit there for the whole time. I can do it a little bit over 30 seconds. You have to pay me to go further. Now, average US population, their endurance is about 30, and you're looking for patients who are like below 10 would be pretty unusual, pretty weak and fatigable. All right. Let's see, what else can I tell you? That's basically it. You, of course, have the possibility of, if you're trying to focus more on endurance than on increasing the maximum strength, you could reduce the target value and increase the hold time, but I don't have any particular protocol to refer you to for that. But I do know that some therapists do have people hold the green light for as long as possible and do that as part of an exercise program. All right. So that's the basics. The last thing I'll show you, in case you purchase the unit, is what to do with this connecting tube so you don't lose it. That seems to be a little bit of a problem because it's obviously very small. What we suggest doing is storing it in the carrying case. We'll turn off the device. If you place the device in the carrying case, you can wrap this up. There you go. And place it on top of the unit and close it in the case. And that way it's always where you want it with the Iopi. It also is stored out of sunlight so it doesn't turn the tubing yellow over time. So it's a nice habit to get into. All right, well, thank you very much for learning about our product, and feel free to email us or call us if you want more information. Our website is www.iopimedical.com.